Welcome to my private Facebook group, From Survival to Success. I help business owners transition from being managers in their business where they're spending a lot of time working in their business to managers who can work on their business. So from being the owner manager to becoming the owner leader of their business. And one of the key things that really needs to change when you are growing a business is the relationships you have with the people who are working with you, because as your relationship changes, or as your needs change, your relationships need to change as well. So what I want to talk to you today is all about how we get the right relationships with the teams around us. And I'm going to cover a number of points today, but the first thing I want to sort of talk about, or start with if you like, is what is your relationship with your business? Because it's not a question you get asked this morning. Actually, I was at a networking meeting this morning with 4N and I asked the people I was seeing there today what their relationship is with their business. And I got some very sort of blank looks because people were sort of wondering, well, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is, and maybe if I asked it a slightly different way, is how do you serve your business and how do you want your business to serve you? Because relationships are very, very specific things. Relationships start because there is a specific purpose and there is a specific dynamic. And when you are in that sort of situation, you can create the dynamic to support the purpose of the relationship. But if you don't know the purpose of your relationship with your business and the purpose of your business's relationship with you, even though a business is this weird thing, it's like, is if you don't know where that's happening or what's happening, then basically you are in a situation where you're creating the method of running your business without really understanding what it's for. Many of you have started businesses because you wanted to get a particular type of lifestyle, or you wanted to create some wealth, you wanted some outcome you want to create, and your business is a vehicle for you getting there. So your purpose for your relationship with your business is to create some specific outcome at the end. The business's purpose of its relationship with you, therefore, has to be that you're going to direct it, you're going to lead it, you're going to be the person that's going to take the business on a particular path. And if you are able to do that effectively, then the relationship with your business is going to work. If you're not able to do that effectively, then the relationship with your business is not going to work. And I do meet a number of people every year who have sort of lost their mojo with their business. It's sort of gone dull. They sort of don't know what they're doing it for anymore. And that's because the relationship with their business is broken. So what I want to do today is really start to work through how you can really impact the relationship with your business. Hi Luan, good to see you here, welcome. And Martin, I see you watching too, welcome. So this thing about relationships is really key because your business is there to serve you in some way. It's to provide you with an income, it's to help you fulfill your own personal purpose, it's to make the difference that you want in the world. And your relationship with that business has got to be the one that's serving it, and your business has to be directed and led, and you are that person who does it. Now, what we're going to have today is really a conversation for relationships. So what do I mean by conversation for relationships? Well, if you think about it, a relationship is the core to everything that we do in business. Now, as a business consultant, what I do is I help business owners develop foundations so that they can grow their business. That's what my whole purpose in life is. And those foundations are based on your purpose, your vision, your values, and the roles that people play in your business. Those are real solid foundations you need. Then you need to have the behavior that you want your business to operate with, and how you want to behave towards your customers, towards each other, towards your community. And that is a really key foundation because that directs how people operate in your business. The next key foundation is the customer experience that you want to deliver to your customers. So you actually need to have the purpose of your business, that's the thing you're going to achieve, the behavior, how you're going to achieve it, what you're going to deliver to your customers, the customer experience, the customer journey. And then the fourth part is leadership. How you're going to lead your business to make that all work. And a vital part of leadership is your ability to create and sustain and maintain really effective relationships with the people who work with you. Because if you don't, you have breakdowns in relationships, something's gone wrong. Now, when something goes wrong in a business, 99.999% of the time, it's going to be because the relationships are breaking down or have broken down or are damaged in some way. Because somebody's done something or acted in a particular way. Hi Martin, I see your message, great to see that. Hello, Georgie Hawkins is watching me. Great, hello George. So the thing that is really important is that your relationships in the business, just like your relationship with your business, has to have a specific purpose and it has to have a specific dynamic for it to work. So, well, what is that going to be? Now, I'm going to jump around a bit today because I want to cover a few things. So we've got this set of foundations that you've got to have in your business, and then the relationships that you're going to have with the people working in your business to make that work. If they say to me, well, you know, I want them to do well, I want to grow them, I want to encourage them to do better, I want them to contribute to the business, that's great, that's all good stuff. But then I ask them a second question, and that question is, what do you think your staff think the purpose of your relationship with them is? And that normally draws a blank. And then they have to think about it for a minute, and then they'll think about, well, the relationship they have with their staff may not be that great. So their staff may think that their purpose of having a relationship with their team members, their staff, is to get the most out of them, not to support them, not to nurture them, not to grow them. And that's really not helpful. But then you start to look at how the dynamic between those two individuals is within a business, and you see that the person who believes that their boss's purpose for their relationship with them is to get the most out of them, they're going to behave in a particular way. They're not going to behave in the same way as if they believe that their boss's purpose of their relationship with them was to nurture them, to grow them, to develop them into wonderful human beings. Because if that was the case, that person's behaviour would be completely different. So behaviour is really dependent on the relationships we have with people. And the purpose of a member of your team's relationship with you has got to be congruent with the purpose of your relationship with them. Now that's true of all relationships, even romantic relationships. If you have differing purposes, then the relationships are doomed to fail. I often talk about relationships travelling at the same speed or travelling in the same direction. If you don't have that common direction, common thing that you're passionate about or you share an interest in, then there's nothing that's going to bind the relationship together. And when you are really closely related to somebody over something that's bigger than the both of you, then that's when relationships really flourish and become greatly powerful, because it's about people chasing the same dream, doing the same thing together. So as a leader, you have to engage people in your vision, your purpose and your values first before you can start to get the best out of them. Now, when you do get into a situation where you're able to sit down with somebody and engage them in that vision, and they are involved with it or passionate about it as well, that's when you start to get really quick relationships forming. I call it speed dating, but you know, the thing about it is, and we did this in the Mowgli Foundation in Lebanon, where we're getting coaches, mentors and mentees together. We actually did this speed dating thing where we just got them talking about what they were passionate about. And suddenly, where two people had some joint passion about their business or something, immediately we had the foundations, the basic building blocks of a relationship. Now, relationships go in an order. They start at banter. So when we have to meet somebody for the first time, you have a relationship level at banter, and it's a very frivolous sort of thing. It has no power in it, but it's fun, it's exciting, it's enjoyable. You then move into a data relationship type of environment, which is, some people miss this part, but it's like when you just share information with each other and you become a trusted source of information for somebody. Then it moves into the opinion-based relationships. Now, that is most of our relationships. Most of our relationships are opinion-based relationships. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we've all had the experience of being at work and you have an employee and they walk in one day and they're jolly and they're happy, and you go up to them and you know you can ask them to do anything, and they're going to be supportive and they're going to help you and they're going to help you do things. That's when their opinion-based relationship is not getting in the way. But when their opinion-based relationship is getting in the way, it means that they maybe are having a bad day, they're in a bad mood. And you go up to them to ask them to do something, and you look at them and you go, oh my God, I'm not going to ask them anything today because I just know I'm going to get an awful response. So you go and do it yourself. That's an opinion-based relationship. You have no permission to intervene there. Then you move into effective relationships, and we talk about relationships based on empathy, understanding, and the best one of all is resource-based relationships, which is when there's no brave face. There's like, you will say anything, they will say anything. There's a total trust, there's a total respect, there's an openness between you. Now that sort of relationship means that you can make great requests of people, you can challenge them really effectively to support you and contribute to your business, and they know you're doing it not in any other way than to help them be the best them in your business, so that both of you together are trying to grow the business. Now, what happens when a relationship breaks down? Well, when a relationship breaks down, it normally starts with some form of upset. And if you want to take notes, these are 3 things you should note down. What is it that makes people upset? Well, there are 3 things, and everything fits into these 3 categories. First of all, it's an unfulfilled communication. So you might have been expecting somebody to say something to you. You might have been expecting somebody to send you an email, deliver some communication, or say well done, or say thank you, or say please, and it doesn't happen. And at that point, you start to become upset. The second one is when there's an incomplete action. So someone says they're going to do something and they don't do it. I can be guilty of that quite often. We all can at different times. But you say something and you don't deliver on it. That creates upset. Because the person who's expecting it to happen doesn't see that happen, and now they're getting upset. And the final one is an unfulfilled expectation. Now, an action and expectation are different, because I may be expecting somebody to behave in a particular way and they don't quite get it right. I had a member of staff once, and in my review with her, she said to me that I wasn't appreciative enough of her. And I said, well, hang on, let's just get the file out. And there were like 4 letters from me to her file saying, great work, thank you very much, great contribution, etc. She'd had flowers for this, she'd done this, she'd been Employee of the Month, and a whole lot of stuff. So I knew that actually I'd been doing a lot of appreciation, and so had my general manager been doing a lot of appreciation with her, but she wasn't getting it. Her expectation was we were going to march in the symphony orchestra to say well done, but actually we had a penny whistle, and we were blowing our penny whistle really hard to say thank you, but she was expecting the orchestra, and it wasn't happening for her, so she didn't get the thank you. So you've got to be really aware when you're showing appreciation to people doing that, or you're trying to engage with people, that they are receiving what you're delivering and they're not expecting something different, because that will create an upset in them. So where do you go when things go wrong? Well, most people have this lovely habit, it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, and we have to stop ourselves from doing it, of blaming the other person. Oh my God, it was wrong. I mean, if you look at the television or politics or anything like that today, it's all about the blame game. The trouble is, when you point the blame gun at somebody else, you are throwing away the responsibility. You've got to take the responsibility here. You've got to be 100% responsible for the outcomes of your choices and the outcomes of your relationships. When you're 100% responsible for your relationship with another person, you take care of the whole thing. Now, very careful what I said. You're 100% responsible for your relationship with that person. They are 100% responsible for their relationship with you. But your relationship with another person is a choice. It's a choice you make. And so when we're doing the blame thing, we're throwing away that choice. We're no longer in charge. It's over there. We left it over to somebody else. So we've got to own that relationship. We've got to own the outcomes. Because if we do that, we can do something about it. And the thing that we sort of need to understand is that this is true for all different types of relationships. So it's relationships with your business, with your partner, with your staff, with your customers, with your community, and then your personal relationships with your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is, your friends. All of these relationships have the same format. There's a purpose to the relationship, and there's a dynamic that supports that purpose. And the purpose that you have for your relationship with one person has to match the purpose that that person has for their relationship with you. Otherwise, you fall into a tremendous hole. Now, at this meeting this morning, so we're going about 40 minutes, a few more minutes we'll just do it. And if you've got any questions, please put them into the chat box and I will see them here and I'll answer them. But the thing is here, or if you're enjoying the conversation, just maybe press like or a heart, love heart, whatever, just to let me know that it's good because you're enjoying it. That'd be really nice. It's always nice to know that my words are being appreciated out there. The thing is this, I was having this conversation and 2 people came up to me this morning and asked me different questions about relationships. The first one asked me about conflict. He said, how do you manage conflict? And I said, well, actually the simplest tip I can give you about conflict is, first of all, it takes time because you need to spend a lot of time doing that. But the thing that is really important is that you agree with the other person what the outcome is if the relationship fails, or if the negotiation fails, or if the conversation fails. And the second person came up and asked me a question. He said, what about business and divorce? Well, I was very lucky to coach somebody through divorce and business, and it was a real insight into the challenges that as a business owner or business manager that you face in a situation where maybe your wife or partner is involved with your business and you're getting divorced, because suddenly there's two very powerful things in your life that are going wrong. The divorce is crucial to your personal life, your home life. Your business is crucial to your working life. And if everything's involved, you need to separate those two conversations out and deal with them very independently. And where the overlap is in the business area, then you need to get professional advice. But most of the time, what happens is the conversations all get collapsed and you can't break it. Like if you saw my Facebook post I put out on my personal page, was a cat wrapped up in balls of string. All those balls of string could represent different threads of conversations. And when they're all mushed together, you have no chance at all. When you break them apart and start to look at the individual consequences of each conversation, then you can address them one at a time. And that's, for me, the most powerful thing about relationships is when you really realize a relationship is a one-to-one thing. It's you and one person. And all the stuff around it is just that. It's stuff around it. Sure, it can influence a relationship. But you need to focus on what your purpose of the relationship with that person is. So if they're a junior member of staff, you're trying to grow them, you've got to make sure they understand that and that they want to grow. It's pointless employing somebody if they don't want to grow and actually you're passionate about growing people. It's not going to work. You're going to have two conflicting purposes and that relationship will fade. Also, if you do employ somebody who is really passionate about furthering their career and all you do is just keep giving them the basic stuff, then they're going to get fed up and they're going to leave too, because that relationship's not going to work. So in relationships at work, it's really important to make sure that you know what that person wants out of the relationship and you know what you want out of the relationship, and the two things match. Because when you have that, that's when the art of relationships really work and you can produce amazing magic. And does it take long to create a relationship? No. You can start a really effective relationship in seconds by just starting to communicate about your purpose and the outcomes you're trying to achieve and seeing if they're online and in tune with you. Because if they are, then that can work. If you've heard me talk about delegation, I talk about delegation by craft, which is all about challenging somebody to deliver a particular outcome. You can't delegate effectively to somebody unless you're absolutely clear about your relationships with them. See you soon, have a great week, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I hope you all bought flowers. I did eventually. So have a lovely day and I hope you have a wonderful time. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.